Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is a Wednesday, and there is so much to talk about today. We've actually had movement in the transfer window, proper movement, and there's lots to get into, and it's splitting opinion. To be honest, you look on social media, there is some division about what is happening at Arsenal. We are talking Christian Norgaard. If you've not seen earlier on, I posted a video about why I think Arsenal have moved for Christian Norgaard, why I think it makes sense. So if you want a more in-depth video, you can go and watch that one. But for now, it's progressing rapidly. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Benjamin Sesko and the priority for Arsenal when it comes to the striker. Thomas Partey as well, leaving. What are the ramifications? We will talk about that. And there's just plenty to talk about. And there's loads of you here. There is loads of you here, which we love to see. Vivi, Vlad, Jack, Tamina, Justin, Carter, FFP, Saliba, Eli Ramsey, Emilio, Alex Johnson, Oslo Guna. It is a bit early, so I appreciate some of you will be working. But yeah, it is good to see you. Max Evans is here as well. Turkish cooked you. I couldn't care less. Good for him. Who else is here? Francisco Oliveira is here as well. But yeah, look, let's get into it. This is the latest on Norgaard, coming from Fabrizio Romano, coming from David Ornstein. Fabrizio said Arsenal. Well, first of all, the timeline of the day. Earlier on, Ornstein came out. It actually came out from a Danish source at first, and people were like, do we believe this? And then Ornstein came out and said that Arsenal were exploring a move for Christian Norgaard. Then the news came out about Thomas Partey, and then later on this afternoon, Fabrizio said Arsenal and Christian Norgaard have reached an agreement on personal terms as the player wants to move. Brentford informed of the player's decision as club-to-club talks continue to get a deal done over 10 million euros after the opening bid. There's been various numbers on that, 10 million euros, 11 million euros. Some of them saying like 10 million euros plus 5 million in potential add-ons. But that is kind of what we're looking at, which is cheap. Ornstein saying Arsenal close to an agreement with Brentford for Christian Norgaard. Deal not done, but heading in that direction after an 11 million euro offer. Brentford midfielder wants Arsenal and is the main target as experienced and Premier League ready option amid Jorginho and Partey exits. And that is the thing. You're losing Partey, you're losing Jorginho. Norgaard provides a lot of Premier League proven experience. And I think that's probably the main reason that we've gone for him over one of the kind of younger, less experienced, non-Premier League proven players, a Lucien Agume or someone like that. Chances of signing Rodri, slim, I would say. Honestly, it's a good deal when you think of him as a Jorginho replacement. Cheap fee, wages, leadership, good defensively, Premier League proven, can't be mad. This is the thing. I really do think you need to look at it as a Jorginho replacement, not a Partey replacement. And like someone commented on my video someone commented on the video, right? And this is where I can't help the way that some people are. He said, it's not a Jorginho replacement, it's a Partey replacement because Partey is still at the club and Jorginho's not. That's just not how it works. Ultimately, Jorginho and Partey have both left at the end of the 24-25 season. The difference is we let Jorginho go to go and play with Flamengo at the Club World Cup whilst negotiations carried on with Thomas Partey. The reality is Zubimendi is coming in to start ahead of Thomas Partey. Zubimendi is the Partey replacement. Norgaard will come in as a depth option on cheap wages, a low fee, and that is to replace Jorginho. There's no other way of looking at it. To suggest that Zubimendi is the Jorginho replacement and Norgaard is the Partey replacement, like, it's nonsense. Come on, Rory, these are not signings to win the league, but not every signing needs to be a marquee 50, 60, 70 million pound signing. Like when we signed Jorginho, that undoubtedly was a good signing in the end. I actually thought it was a terrible signing at the time. And maybe I feel like I've learned from that. But not every signing, like this is a depth option. I don't know what people want. Underwhelming signing, but what do you want for your third choice defensive midfielder? This is what I don't understand. What do you want in a If we went out and spent 40 million on a third choice defensive midfielder, people would be going mental that money could be being used on a striker. So I don't understand. I don't understand what people want. That's. I'll be honest with you. Liverpool have Endo on their bench. Similarly, can't be bashing the club up. Exactly. That's what I mean. No one can sign only 60 million except City. Yeah, City are the only team that can do that. In fact, City did it, right? Nico Gonzalez for Man City will be a 50, 60 million pound midfield depth option. We just can't do that. And you look at how angry people got when we bought in like Kai Havertz and the idea that Kai Havertz might not be a starting player. We bought him for 65 million. You can't have it both ways. And I feel like mainly the thing that is annoying people is just the order that we're signing players in. Like, I just don't care. The reality is, clearly, Norgaard is a very quick and easy thing to do because we've basically progressed it within the space of a day. Obviously, we don't know how long conversations have been happening, but it seems like as soon as Partey wasn't going to happen, we've gone, right, this is the option we want to go for, done. Very similarly to how when Joan Garcia wasn't going to happen, we moved on to Kepa and it happened very quickly. That is good. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what people want. Norgaard or Agume? Me personally, Agume. It's a difficult one, right? Because long term, I would say Agume because of the potential of him. But if you're looking at why we're bringing Norgaard in, it's for the experience. Norgaard at 31 will be the oldest player in the squad next season. And if you brought in Agume, would he develop at Arsenal? Like, how many opportunities would he actually get to play? Assuming the midfield, at least the two is going to be Zubimendi and Rice. You've also got Marino. I worry that if you bring in an Agume, he doesn't develop. And that's not really why we've got Norgaard. So it's difficult. It is difficult. Hand of Arsenal tweet. Let's have a gander. What is the Hand of Arsenal tweet? By the way, Hand of Arsenal linking up with Fabrizio today. Unreal. Arsenal have agreed personal terms with Christian Norgaard. Fee in the region of 12 million euros. Talks in the final stages. There you go. Yeah, just confirming. Great business, to be honest. Kepa and Norgaard, both Prem-proven experienced players for cheap. Exactly. We're losing a huge amount of Premier League proven experience in Jorginho and Thomas Partey. So I think it's good value. Listen, if you don't think it's good value, fair enough, but I do. Ibby has been saying that for a few minutes. I apologize. I like the move, but I prefer Jensen. He is more Jorginho-esque. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, though, I think Norgaard is closer to what we want. When I made that video, remember about who the whole squad, how I wanted our squad to be going into next season, I did feel like one of the areas we might still be like was a bit of a destroyer in midfield. That we only really had Declan Rice, that was that guy. I feel like Norgaard comes closer to covering that than Jorginho, which is good. Is Zubimendi not a downgrade on Partey? No. Stats show Partey is better, and in my opinion, eye test as well. No, not for me. To be honest, I don't know. Personally, I thought Thomas Partey had a good season last season, but there were times where he was massively costly. Like, he cost us 2 points against Aston Villa. He cost us against PSG. And I really didn't have any faith that if we kept him for next season, he'd put up the same performances. What's with the hair? I don't know. I'm a bit warm, to be honest. It's a bit hot. Too inconsistent. Yeah. I appreciate that, Baxter. Thank you very much. Not just saying this because we're signing him, but he's an underrated player who, if he has to play due to Zubimendi injury, I'd 100% be comfortable with him. This is a point, right? If we lost Zubimendi for a long period of time, or Declan Rice for a long period of time, or if Zubimendi just takes a while to fit in and get up to speed, a bit like Mikel Merino, who would you be more confident in playing? Norgaard or Agume? Agume, who has never played in the Premier League, young, raw. I think it's Norgaard. I think it is Norgaard. So, and for the fee, 12 million, like it's going to be like 10 million quid, And he's currently at Brentford on 40 grand a week. So even if we double his wages, he's going to like 80 grand a week. I just think it makes a lot of sense. It's fairly risk-free and it fills a gap. It does fill a gap. And if long-term, by the way, the plan is still to integrate Miles Lewis-Skelly into midfield, then you're better off having a Norgaard than a Nagume, because Norgaard will phase out in 2 or 3 years, much like Jorginho did. And that's fine because you've not spent much on him. Either way, I think the idea of keeping Thomas Partey was just impossible. Thomas Partey asking for a pay rise when he's already the 5th highest paid player at the club and he's 32 and he's got an awful injury record and he's not going to be starting next season. That was insane. You couldn't do that. Mr. Agreeable, this movie is shit. Stop making excuses. I'm not Mr. Agreeable, though. I've disagreed about a lot of things. I disagreed with the fact that we didn't sign anyone in January. I repeatedly spoke about the fact that not signing anyone in January was going to damage our squad. And then it did, because we saw injuries to Havertz, Gabriel, and Gabriel Martinelli. So I call out the club when I feel it is necessary. What I'm not going to sit here and do is trash every single... Do you know how easy it is to sit there and slam everything that the club does? Do you know how easy it would be to just slam every signing, and then if the signing does work, you can just kind of not really mention it and continue to be negative? If you want to do that, fine. I call things out when I feel it's necessary. In this case, I think Norgaard is a good signing. Simple as that. Norgaard confirms Lokonga's exit and covers Jorginho's outgoing. He's not going to play much, just to help in rotation. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Why do you believe Zubimendi will hit the ground running? I don't know if Zubimendi will hit the ground running. I hope that he will. I feel like he's got the ability to. If he has the entire preseason, which he will do, that will massively help. There's no guarantee. And that is the one slight risk of losing Jorginho and Partey at the same time, is that you're losing that experience in midfield and you are relying on Zubimendi hitting the ground running. You're not relying on that quite so much if you bring in Norgaard, who you know knows how to play in the Premier League. This is Brentford's captain, by the way. Had a very good season last season. Is generally an underrated all-round player. It's not bad at all. I like his aerial ability. Yeah, he's and by the way, he's got a real nasty streak to him as well. You remember the tackle on Martinelli? The assault on Martinelli last season. When that's happening against you, you don't like it. But when it's happening for you, it's not so bad. Would rather a player like Elliot Anderson, would be more expensive, but a better player and has age on his side. But again, Elliot Anderson would cost you a lot of money. You look at the fact that Nottingham Forest have turned down 45 million for Anthony Elanga. Elliot Anderson's going to cost you a lot of money, and he wouldn't start. And again, like, does he develop at Arsenal? I don't think so. And we can't afford to go and spend, you'd be looking at 40 million probably for Elliot Anderson at least. We can't afford to spend that when we're trying to do the striker and the left winger. So this to me just seems like a cheap and sensible option. Need another warrior in there to deal with the physical side of things. Yeah, I agree. That's why I like it. Why don't you hold Arteta to his words? He said he gets goosebumps thinking about next season. Said we were the best team in Europe. Said it only took 10 seconds on a call with Sterling to sign him. What words do you want me to hold him to? Like I don't know. I don't know what words you want me to hold him to. Does Sesko following Arsenal mean anything, or just more edging? Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Partey first. So Partey is leaving. This came from Fabrizio Romano. Thomas Partey set to leave Arsenal as a free agent at the end of the month. Story from last week confirmed. Arsenal have already activated options to replace Thomas, with Norgaard talks ongoing with Brentford. And a shout out to Hand of Arsenal, because Hand of Arsenal actually broke this news with Fabrizio Romano. Hand of Arsenal said, exclusive, it is my understanding Thomas Partey will leave Arsenal Football Club. An honour working with you, Fabrizio Romano. And Fabrizio Romano replied to that. So if you did doubt that Hand of Arsenal is a legitimate source of information, doubt no more, because he is now working with the biggest in the game. This is a sensible signing. Not all signings have to be glamorous. Exactly. So yeah, Thomas Partey's leaving. Like I said, I just think he overestimated his value. I think asking for a pay rise was insane, like genuinely insane. He's the 5th highest paid player. He wanted like 220, 230 grand a week. No chance. And the problem is, if you signed him for that, someone said, well, why don't we give him a new contract, like a 2-year deal, and then sell him next year so that we don't lose him on a free? If you sign Thomas Partey to a 2-year contract on 230 grand a week, nobody is buying him in a year's time, because that is insane wages for what would then be a 33-year-old. So you can't give him a new deal and then expect to sell him. So then you're tied to having Thomas Partey as one of your highest paid players from the age of 32 to the age of 34, when he has only demonstrated that he can actually perform consistently for a whole season. And in that, I just mean in the sense of injuries, once in 5 years. Like, it just wasn't doable. Any news on Norgaard's wages? No, but I mean, it just won't be much. Like, he's on 40 grand a week at the moment. It's not going to be much. If Thomas Partey leaves Arsenal and Christian Norgaard joins from Brentford, Norgaard would be the oldest player in the Arsenal squad. Yeah, Norgaard is set to be the oldest player at 31, which shows just how good a position we're in terms of the age of the squad right now. A lot of players that are in their prime age. Zubi to get 5 instead of 36. I don't know, because I don't know what number he actually wants. It sounded like he wanted 36, so I'm not sure. Have you watched Zubimendi like that? He seemed lackluster against Man United. Yeah, but I actually think the performances against Manchester United didn't demonstrate how good he is. He was playing in a very poor Real Sociedad team this season. And yeah, against United, he didn't look great. And I spoke at the time about the fact that I was a bit concerned with that performance. Watch him in a good team. Watch him for Spain. And then you won't be as worried. Not going to lie, the striker situation needs to end soon. I've had enough. Just sign one. I'm sure we are. I'm sure we are. Look, the situation with Sesko is this. Fabrizio Romano posted this afternoon, new social media hint by Benjamin Sesko as the striker has started following Arsenal on Instagram today. Which in itself, Sesko following Arsenal on Instagram does not mean a huge amount. I think he also follows Real Madrid. I think he also follows Man City. The reason it's kind of interesting is because Fabrizio Romano has actively tweeted that. Fabrizio Romano is someone who had an exclusive interview with Benjamin Sesko's agent. You'd assume that there are conversations there. So for him to go out of his way to post about this hint, I don't know, maybe it means something. Maybe it doesn't. But it feels like a weird thing for Fabrizio to tweet unprompted. And he did it whilst retweeting a thing from previously where he'd said that Arsenal were interested in Sesko. But actually, the more interesting news came from Isan Khan today. So he said this: it's understood that Sesko is the priority striker at Arsenal. Sources close to the club suggest that Sporting Lisbon's keenness to offload Gyokeres has become clearer by the day and arguably weakened their hand. Internally, though, there are already reservations over the 27-year-old because Portugal's Primeira Liga is a totally different proposition to the Premier League, even though he scored 39 goals last season. Sources say that RB Leipzig are driving a hard bargain for Benjamin Sesko because they know all too well how desperate Arsenal are for a striker. It is for this reason, and Arsenal's desire not to spend way over their budget for a striker, that there is a delay. Andrea Berta is said to have other striker options too, which he is in negotiations over. If a deal for Sesko nor Gyokeres is to materialise, the prospect of a surprise name entering the frame is a possibility. Mail Sport understands Mikel Arteta wants a striker in before the pre-season tour of Singapore and Hong Kong, for which they fly out on July the 19th. So a fair bit to dissect there. But basically, Arsenal's priority is Benjamin Sesko. It has always sounded like the priority is Benjamin Sesko. We've sounded out Victor Gyokeres. The situation between Victor Gyokeres and Sporting has made Sporting's hand weaker because everyone knows that Gyokeres is going to leave and he's going to refuse to even join them on pre-season. But Arsenal are still waiting for RB Leipzig. And RB Leipzig just don't have the power in this situation. The only way RB Leipzig regains some power in this situation is if another big club comes in for Benjamin Sesko and a bidding war starts. But so far, that simply hasn't happened. So if Arsenal are waiting for them to reduce the price, I think that's fine. Gyokeres will still be a backup option. You know, I would only suddenly get worried if we're still trying to go for Sesko and suddenly Gyokeres is gone. If Gyokeres suddenly goes to United and that backup option's no longer there, then the game of poker gets a little bit harder. But for now, I think it's fine. I think we are the ones that are in control of the situation. And look, the tour flying out on the July the 19th, we've got over 3 weeks until that happens. So it is a bit annoying that it hasn't happened yet, and it is making people just a bit nervy. But I think we can relax. Didi Da, you need to calm down. Calm yourself down. No complaints from me regarding Norgaard. Berta and Arteta working well together. I wish Thomas all the best. There you go. There you go. A reasoned approach. A reasoned approach from Elliot Roberts. Did you see the rumour that Liverpool are looking at Gyokeres? There was a rumour that Liverpool are looking at Victor Gyokeres. Sources from Liverpool then squashed that pretty quickly. So I don't think they are. If Gyokeres goes anywhere, I think it'll be United. I think we end up with Sesko. I think Gyokeres ends up at United. Probably on a cut price, to be honest, because Sporting really have damaged their ability to negotiate at this point. Have we moved on to the attacking players? The attacking players is something that is continuously happening. But if we want Rodrigo, we cannot move on that until at least the end of the Club World Cup. So the Rodrigo thing, annoyingly, if that is genuinely who we are really going to go for, that has to wait. So the only other attacking signing really, other than that kind of third choice option, is the striker. And there's just a bit of a game going on right now. And whilst that game is going on, getting the other work we need to do done is great. Realistically, the second choice keeper, Zubimendi, Norgaard, you've solved pretty much every problem. Maybe you still end up going for Jorel Hato, but that's not super important with the players that we've already got. So actually getting all of that business done quite quickly leaves you in a position where you can just fully focus on the striker and the left winger. So yeah, I honestly, I don't think this window is going as badly as some people want to make out. Look, I'll be honest with you. There are some people that just need this window to go badly for views. There are people that just want to be angry, getting angry about things that haven't happened yet, might not happen, just for clips. Let's be real about it. Another Ornstein bomber. Another Ornstein bomber. This is flying. This is flying. There we go. Arsenal in the process of finalising agreement with Brentford to sign Christian Norgaard. Dialogue continues between Arsenal and Brentford midfielder over contract length at the Emirates Stadium. Medical for the 31-year-old is being planned. Basically done. And this is what I mean. When we woke up this morning, Norgaard was not on anyone's mind. By the evening, it's basically done. That is quick. That is quick. If Ødegaard's not at his best next season, what then? Then you have to start looking at replacing him. Gyokeres and Leao are the only ones who can save this window. Didi Dat, to be honest, I don't rate your... if you think Leao and Gyokeres are the two that combine to save this window, I disagree. By the way, why are we always so fast with forward? Why are we always so fast with defensive signings? They're just generally easier to get done. Attacking players, generally speaking, are just the hardest signings to do. There's more money involved. It makes them take longer. There are also just fewer top-level attacking players, generally speaking, in Europe. Screen share the tweet. The tweet literally says this: Arsenal are in the process of finalising an agreement with Brentford to sign Christian Norgaard. Dialogue continues between Arsenal and Brentford over the contract length at the Emirates. Medical for the 31-year-old Denmark international is being planned. That is the entire tweet. Carl Walker-Peters on a free, who says no? Nah. Nid, good to see you. Good to see you, Nid. Unlucky in the cricket. Do you think we will go for Leao if Rodrigo decides to stay at Madrid? I don't know. That's the worrying thing. The worrying thing with the Rodrigo situation is it sounds like we won't make any progress on that until August. And you do leave yourselves vulnerable at that point. If you wait until August to try and get Rodrigo done and then it doesn't happen, what's going to be left? What options are going to be left? So it's a gamble. To be honest, it is just a massive gamble. But it's the sort of gamble that's worth it if it pays off. If you gamble and you get Rodrigo, That's unbelievable. So, have you seen Sesko's agent has started following AFTV? Fair enough. Fair enough. What's your realistic end of summer window outgoing and incoming? Well, I guess now Kepa, Zubimendi, Norgaard, Sesko, Rodrigo. They come in. I genuinely think we can pull that off. Outgoings, Zinchenko needs to go. I think Fabio Vieira needs to go. Sammy Lokonga's going to go. Reece Nelson's going to go, I would imagine. Anyone else? Obviously, Thomas Partey, Jorginho have gone. I think that's pretty much it. Sesko's brother just posted him coming to London. It's happening. Right. I did see that, actually. Sesko's had a haircut somewhere on holiday, I think. And then the barber put, hopefully next time in London in the winter or something like that. Fabrizio Romano bomber, not about Arsenal. Well, I don't really. Do I care about a Fabrizio tweet that's not about Arsenal? Oh, Cristiano Ronaldo set to sign a new deal at Al Nassr. There you go. It would be terrible if we go to Madueke. Yeah, the issue with Madueke is that it's like, supposedly Chelsea want 50 million. 50 million for Madueke. To do what? Like to play off the right? As a backup to Saka? That's an expensive Saka backup. If not, to play off the left? I don't know. I've not really seen him play off the left. I don't get it. I don't get the Madueke one, to be honest with you. If you could do it cheap, fine, but you're not going to do it cheap. Chelsea aren't going to let him go for cheap. Carrington, thank you very, very much for the $4.99 super chat. Do those signings genuinely make us challenge? Yes. Yes. Like, I don't know. I think people have massively now underestimated Arsenal's squad. Like, last season was an absolute horror in terms of the injuries that we had, in terms of some of the refereeing decisions that went against us. And yet we still came second and got to the Champions League semi-final with the squad that we had, with the injuries that we had. Genuinely, I think even if we didn't sign Sesko or Rodrigo, we would still compete at the top next season. Bring in Sesko and Rodrigo as well, of course we're going to compete. Like, how would we not? I really do feel like people have like massively written off this Arsenal squad, who are still young, who are still getting better. It's bizarre. It's bizarre, to be honest. But I don't mind it in the sense that for rival fans, if they start underestimating us, I don't mind that, to be honest. I don't mind going under the radar a little bit. Honduras, thank you very, very much for the 27 sec. I appreciate that very much. No message with it. But that is incredibly helpful for the channel. Thank you very much. Left winger is more important than the striker. I don't disagree. I think Rodrigo would just be unbelievable. If I'm honest, I don't think it does. But why? What do you think we need? Okay, if we have a starting 11 next season of Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly or Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice, Erdegaard, Saka, Sesko, Rodrigo. With the amount of depth that we then have in terms of White, Calafiori or Miles Lewis Skelly, Marino, Havertz, Martinelli, Trossard, like I genuinely don't know what more. I don't even know who's available that we could go and sign. Do you just think that we literally physically cannot compete now? I don't really understand. I'm surprised we aren't in on Simons. Yeah, so am I. But then again, he's expensive, and I don't fully know where he fits in because I don't think he is the left winger that I would go for. And unless you sell Erdegaard, are you going to pay that much for Simons to be a? I don't know. Elliot, thank you very, very much for becoming a new member of the channel. That is sensational support. Elliot, I appreciate that. As always, all of the members massively appreciate you. The money goes back into the channel, and it massively helps me out. So shout out to Elliot. Havertz hate is forced. Yes, it is. A few other bits of news today, just a couple of extras. Hand of Arsenal saying Kepa Arrizabalaga has officially signed his contract for Arsenal Football Club. The Spaniard is the second official signing of the transfer window. All paperwork is now complete. And then there was this one from Damasio that genuinely, this is so, in my opinion, untrue from Damasio that I've put it in the extras section rather than even having it as a main thing. But according to Damasio, Arsenal will sign Victor Gyokeres because he wants to join Arsenal. Arsenal will sign Victor Gyokeres because he wants to join Arsenal. That's it. He said other clubs have tried to enter the race, but he will go to Arsenal. He was their first target from the start, and now they have to find an agreement with Sporting. I just don't think that's true. It goes against what so many other people have said in regards to Victor Gyokeres. I just don't think it's the truth. It's like saying Arsenal will sign RoryTalksFootball because he wants to join Arsenal. It's just not guaranteed. AD, thank you very, very much for the $4.99 super chat. LFC's Richard Hughes has said no Premier League club is ready for what we are coming up with next season. How do you feel with this quote? Yeah, I mean, gas yourself up, you know? I respect it. It'll be a quote that comes back to bite him if they don't win everything. But Liam, thank you very much for the $1.99 as well. I'm late. I'll rewatch the stream. Liam, you are a regular donator to the channel, and I do massively, massively appreciate it. So thank you very much. The amount of likes is criminal. Yeah, there's over 700 of you here. If you could just take like 1 second out of your day to click the like button down below, click subscribe if you're not already, that would be absolutely sensational. Daily content, turn the notifications on. You know, if you want to be alerted every time I post, feel free to do that as well. My sister is devastated about Nelson leaving. Why? I mean, look, Reece Nelson's a great guy, and he's good, but I don't feel like we've got the room to keep him at this point. If we get Gyokeres, then it's true. Gianni, I appreciate that. Rory, if you got offered Frimy's job, would you leave YouTube and TikTok for it? Would I leave YouTube and TikTok for it? No, I don't think so. I think, do you know what? I genuinely don't think I could do. In fact, I definitely couldn't do Frimy's job as well as Frimy does it. So, don't get me wrong. I would love to work with Arsenal and get to experience what he does, but he's very, very good at what he does, and he has the job for a reason. Do you reckon Sesko following us on Insta means anything? Not necessarily, right? Like, he follows Real Madrid, he follows Man City. That in itself doesn't mean anything. I think the fact that Fabrizio Romano specifically posted that Sesko now follows Arsenal is interesting because of the relationship that Fabrizio has with Sesko's agent, where he's given him an exclusive interview previously. So I think that's interesting. We'll wait and see. I mean, it's as interesting as the fact that Victor Gyokeres follows Elite Protection Dogs, who are a dog protection service that are followed by a bunch of Arsenal players. You know, it's... I don't think you can read too much into it, you know? Oh my God, Steve! Steve has just done a £50 super chat just because you're awesome. Keep up the good work. Steve, that is unbelievably generous. Thank you so, so much. That is outrageous. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. Absolutely phenomenal. That will go straight back into the channel. Wow. That was unexpected. Thank you very, very much, Steve. And 100 money from Thomas John as well. The problem with fans like you are, you lap up whatever the club serves. We're a big club, and signings like Norgaard, Sesko won't make us top. Wake up. Well, thank you for the 100 money, and thank you for the criticism that came along with it. I will take that on board. I simply provide my own opinion on things. I don't think I am the reason that Arsenal haven't won a trophy, personally. Liverpool made signings such as Endo that helped them to win the title last season, and that's what a Christian Norgaard is. But listen, I appreciate the 100 money. I appreciate the feedback, and I hope you're doing well. 2SA Bomber. 2SA Bomber. 2SA Bomber. What is it? 2SA. 2SA. Arsenal have verbally agreed personal terms with Benjamin Sesko Full agreement reached on player to club side. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if 2SA is a legit source. I'm still waiting to figure that out. But if he's right, that would be nice. Use that £50 to buy yourself a personality. I would if I could. Appreciate the feedback though. Again, Calvin. I don't know what your personality's like, but I'm sure it's sensational. Liam, thank you very, very much for the 199 super chat. Who do you think takes number 5? Well, I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. Like, does someone want to jump straight into the number 5? I don't know. To be honest, right, I actually think we need a bit of a reshuffle with the numbers. I feel like there's a lot of players who have got numbers that kind of almost don't make sense. Someone needs to take number 3. But like, that shouldn't be Miles Lewis-Skelly. Maybe Calafiori takes it. I don't know. I feel like the numbers do need a bit of a reshuffle at this point. But whether or not they can be bothered to do that, I don't know. Honduras, thank you. I appreciate it. Who do you want as a third attacker? I'd love Adingra or Minter. Yeah, look, I think the third attacker one is still a really interesting thing. Bakayoko is there as an option that I quite like. Kenan Yildiz, I would really like. But again, I think that would be a little bit expensive maybe. It depends what the budget's looking like. I don't think it's going to happen until much later in the window. But I do still think it's something that needs to happen. I'll tell you what, that Malik Fofana at Lyon, I think a lot of clubs are going to be in for him, but he's a left-footed. Now, he's played predominantly as a left winger for Lyon, but he is left-footed. That could be an option. If they have to sell him cheaply, I mean, loads of clubs are going to be in for it, but yeah, that would be an interesting one. Rice suits 41. Yeah, he does. Yeah, I like Lewis-Skelly being 49, to be honest. It is a special number. I do like it. Buy yourself a personality. Brother, your entire personality is hating on people in stream chats. Wow, you're not wrong. Fofana is right-footed. Is he? I thought he was left-footed. If he's right-footed, Carter, that's genuinely the worst attempt I've ever seen. That is genuinely the worst attempt. He's right-footed? Okay, I got that wrong. If he's right-footed, then never mind. Isn't Lyon getting relegated? Yeah, Lyon are getting relegated. Lyon are getting relegated. Unless they can win an appeal. They could win an appeal. But, I mean, it's a crazy situation to be in for the fan base, where you're like, you might be relegated, but you might win on an appeal. You say that every time? Yeah, because I'm just too good. You've got to wake up earlier in the day if you're going to catch me out. What's with the haters in here? That's life. That's just the game, you know. They lost the appeal? Wait, they already lost the appeal? I thought they could still appeal it. Rory, do you wish we would have gone for Partey? I would have loved to get him for just a few million. Young, talented, natural right winger. Huge upgrade on Nelson. Just needs to stay healthy. Yeah, well, I mean, I spoke about Partey in the video that I made about the potential third option. Sounds like he's going to Barcelona. So, you know, perhaps my scouting was good again. But 4 signings are replacements. Goalkeeper, defender, 2 DMs. Yeah, at the moment. But they're replacements that we needed to make. Like, it's one of those. They're not flash and fast. I mean, I think the Zubimendi signing is very, very good and is very, very important. The other ones, like, you've got to make them. Like, you can't just ignore the gaps in the squad because you're fully focused on the attacking signings. As long as you make those attacking signings. And listen, if we don't make if we end up this summer not buying a striker, I will lead the demonstrations online against the decision not to buy a striker, right? We all know we need to do it. Same with the left winger, to be honest with you. But until then, just relax, calm, you know? No, I agree, D. I agree. 200 likes, let's get for 300. Yeah, look, if you could like the stream, I'd be grateful. If you want Marino at striker next season, I don't know what to say. Who said that? This is where I have just said, if we don't buy a striker, I'll lead the demonstrations. And you've said, if you want Marino at striker next season, I don't know what to say. Are we in a different universe here? Rooney's contract was expiring in 6 months. That's why the cheap fee. Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Like, Rooney Bargy was just a bargain waiting to be had. And unfortunately, it wasn't us. Not you? Oh, sorry. I'm on the back foot. I'm taking things too defensively. Hey, Rory, saw your vid on Norgaard. Wait, where's that gone? Saw your vid on Norgaard. Still partially unconvinced. Couldn't we do better for 11 million? I don't know. Could we? Well, there's the question. Who could we have done for 11 million, do you think? Because even like an Agume is going to be more than 11 million. Mockbell saying it's 10 million plus 5 million in add-ons. Yeah, that's not bad at all. That isn't bad at all. What do you think about Barcola? I'd love Barcola, but I don't think it's doable. It sounds like... What did Hand of Arsenal just tweet? I can't see a tweet. He tweeted like 35 minutes ago. He hasn't tweeted anything else. Norgaard's really underrated. No, I agree. Tom, I answered that question. I answered it. How credible is Mockbell? Oh, Mockbell's top. Mockbell for me is actually in the same level of credibility as David Ornstein. For me, it's in the journalism world, and I always feel bad saying that because I feel like Hand of Arsenal is genuinely getting to the point where he's basically a journalist. But Mockbell and Ornstein are top. I'm on 500p. Your choice of third attacker? I think at the moment it's Bakayoko. It feels like the most realistic, reasonable. Feel like you could get him at a cut price because of the season he had at PSV last season. I think it would work. Anybody know what's happening with Fabio Vieira? Is he alive? Fabio Vieira is playing in the Club World Cup. I saw him nutmeg Lionel Messi the other day. Also, by the way, if you fancy watching Jorel Hato, he is currently playing against England. And if you're in England, Channel 4 has the game. England under-21s versus Netherlands under-21s. They're 12 minutes into that game. Jorel Hato is playing at left centre-back and captaining the Netherlands. Waneri is on the bench, so we might see him later on. But anyway, look, that is actually going to be the end of the stream. I'm going to go and watch that game for myself. I appreciate you all joining. I have to say again, Steve, if you're still here, that super chat was absolutely unbelievable. Everyone else for the super chats, the new members, Elliot becoming a new member, absolute legends. And other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. I'm sure we'll be back with more content tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow I'm doing something fun. For those of you that follow on TikTok especially, I'm doing something fun tomorrow. So, yeah, not sure what will happen with the content tomorrow. Other than that, we'll definitely have some on Friday. But until then, please do like, subscribe, do anything else that you need to do. Turn on the notifications and, yeah, have a fantastic evening. Raise your standards. My standards are higher than yours. But yeah, I'll catch you all on the next one. Until then, goodbye.